Okay, so we're going to start with deconstructing the drums. Now, here is our original drum groove that you might have seen in Sequencing 101. You can see I've got different sounds. Kick drum here, snare there, kind of a little rim shot there kind of thing, and a hat. Now, in order to mix it, I need to separate these things out. Now, I've done it for the rest of the track. So what do you need to do that is basically copy it and go, right, I'm going to copy this down to another track. You make a duplicate of your instrument using Command D, and then you copy down the MIDI part onto the different track, and you say, right, on this top one here, I'm gonna have the kick drum. So I'll delete everything other than the kick drum, like that, making sure that I've copied it before I do this. And then you go into this one, and I copy this again, and I say, right, okay, I've got the kick drum, so let's delete those. I want that kind of snare and the rim shot on the same track, so just get rid of the hi-hat. And then on the last one, or this one, just get rid of everything apart from the hi-hat, like that. So that's I've done this one way around, but you can see my point. There we go, like so. And that means I've separated it out now. I've separated it out, all the different sounds. So the kick drum has got its own channel, so I can look at that individually. The snares have got their own channel, hi-hats, etc. So let's have a quick listen to the groove on its own. So I just solo out everything apart from the drums. Solo out everything. So there's our kick drum pattern. Right, so what I've done to this is I'm using the Ultra Beat. I put a compressor on here. Now there's another tutorial about compression, but basically compression is really useful for mixing because it reduces the dynamic range of sounds, so makes them easier to sit in the mix basically. But you don't want to overuse it, so I've just had a look at just controlling the dynamics a tiny bit on this one, and then a little bit of EQ. You can see I've rolled off a bit of the really low end because I've got another kick drum which is going to take that space up, and I've boosted around here to make it a bit woody, and then a bit of a click around 2K around that. So these are the important frequencies for a kick drum, around between 50 and 200 hertz. That's kind of woodiness, and then 2 to 5K is where your click is. So have a fiddle with those. That's what it looks like. And then we got onto this one, which is the snares. Let's just solo everything out apart from listen to the snare. Right, so again I've just used a bit of compression again just to control the dynamics. Not much reduction really, just between 2 and 3 dB. And but the main thing is I've put a reverb on a bus, platinum verb on the bus, and this platinum verb is one that I'll use for all my drums. And I've just made sure that the pre-delay has gone up a bit just to give it a bit more space before the reverb actually kicks in. And the reverb time I've changed to about 1.7 seconds. So that's that, and that's going to be used for my drums. There's two sounds here, but they're quite similar, so I've put them on the same track really, so it's not a problem. And then the next one would be the hi-hat. This is all coming from the same instrument, but I've made different duplications of them, so they're on different tracks. And I've just put a tape delay on there, on a quarter beat taper delay, so that just dies away like that. And that's all I've done with that, just to add a bit of delay on there. Okay, next we're going on to the rim shots, which is our percussion part. I've just using the bus 1 for the reverb, yeah, and a bit of EQ. I've just boosted between 2 and 500 hertz to get more of that kind of low mid as opposed to the toppiness. And I've kept all the velocities kind of random because I just want sound a bit more human basically. So that's that bit, and then we've got the extra bit here, which is our kind of open hat, which happens on the second snare beat, if you like. Let's just hear that in context. And I've put a interesting effect on that. I've put a very high value chorus on there. Very quick rate, 11 hertz for a chorus. That's very fast, and 76% intensity and lots of mix as well. So that makes it go, makes it kind of weird, makes it sound a bit different from just an open hat. So have a look at the effects for that, because that's quite cool for those sort of drum sounds. And then finally we've got our 16 hats, which I've used a spreader on, and that basically moves it between the left and right channels to give it a bit of space, a bit of movement, and tiny bit of reverb. And the last thing, but by no means least, is the fill. There's a little fill here. If we just have a listen. And then I found a little sample on the classic hip hop, which I added in that little, which is just a sample. I'm just using that. And that's my little fill that I use 3 times in the track. Oh, finally, let's not forget the low kick, which has been tuned to the track. Now the track's kind of in the C sharp or D flat, and so you can actually tune the MIDI notes to that. So it's an 808 kick here, and I've tuned it here to C3. I think that's right. There we go. So that's really important. It has a lot of low end energy because I've rolled off the bass end of the kick drum. That works really well. So that is the drums. Next video we're going to look at the bass.